Hello everybody, it's Andrew Hutchins here, still not a licensed physician and never giving medical advice, and hopefully this video will not get any problems with YouTube. It is only about possibilities in the future. I'm not talking about anything current. Um, so, a that I would like to take would be one that does not use full spike proteins. Um, Once again, not talking about the current ones, but that use full spike proteins have all the issues of, what a shocker, full spike proteins. Like, who would have thought that? Um, Now, the cool thing is, if you were to just use little portions of the spike protein to generate antibodies, those antibodies, ideally, hopefully, and probably, would bind to the spike protein, despite you having not introduced a spike protein. You only need to introduce certain parts of it to generate the antibodies, which can bind to those certain parts on the actual thing later on. This way, you don't get those spike proteins doing what we recently found out about, which is going in the nucleus and interfering with DNA repair. You don't get those spike proteins binding to angiotensin converting enzyme 2, causing vasoconstriction, thrombosis, tons of inflammation. Not good stuff. Yeah, there are other complications with both versions. However, yeah, you miss out on all the downsides of introducing a spike protein because it's kind of stupid. Not kind of, it's very stupid to go. Like, can you imagine if someone said, to get you used to being stabbed with a knife, we are going to stab you with a knife? You'd be like, what? Why do I need to do that? Like, how is it, like, how is that supposed to help me? Like, why don't we practice with something that's not actually going to do the same damage? Like, why don't we practice with a plastic knife that doesn't slice into me? And they go, well, this knife, it may seem like the same as a real knife, but actually it's been shown to not be harmful when it slices through your skin and penetrates your organs. You know, it doesn't make any sense, but it's been shown to be very safe. Yeah, it's not very logical. But what would be logical, now it doesn't work with that knife analogy, would be to have something that doesn't damage you, but makes you protected against future damage. Because isn't that the whole idea? Like, if you have to do pretty much the same damage to get the protection, why not just wait to get the damage from the possible threat? Considering that you may never even encounter that threat. Your innate immune response may wipe that threat out very early on if you do encounter it, and you might not get any damage from it. You might get a very small load, and your innate immune response just wipes out easily. However, if you get you are guaranteeing that a solid amount gets into you. Unless, of course, you like grab the person's hand after they go 1/10 of the way or a quarter of the way, or you ask them and you do a little bit yourself. But yeah, that's the whole idea, is that you get a certain large amount to generate the response. But yeah, you're not doing yourself too many favors when you could just wait to see if you get the actual you know what, and does the same thing. Now, another problem is the reason why we've never used against uh, against things similar to the you-know-what is because in that family of doesn't look like a very good crown, but the word for crown, in that family they mutate a lot and don't work too well. That's why they are not used, because you give them to people, they get antibodies. Virus does shouldn't have said that. Hopefully it'll be okay. The thing, most of it doesn't survive. Now people are going, oh, it's not alive to begin. I'm not a word Nazi. I can say survive even though technically it's not alive. I guess that depends on your definition of life. I wouldn't consider it alive, but it's easy to use these words. But the issue is that it's like when you take antibiotics. Yeah, most of them don't survive, but some do because they are immune to the antibiotics. And they go on to reproduce more and spread. And now the other ones, the other people that get infected, the antibiotics aren't going to work for them. Same thing with the people take them, people get infected, they spread the ones that are immune to and now is pointless. So would I even get a new one that only uses portions of the spike protein? Perhaps. It would be much less likely to be harmful, so I would be much less reluctant. But at the end of the day, is it very beneficial? The end answer is probably still going to be not really. But if it doesn't hurt, then my logic would be, well, why not? You always got to weigh your cost and your reward. If it's like this, yeah, it's good. If it's like, then no, it doesn't make any sense. I hope you like this video. I've made a lot of other videos going into details about a lot of stuff. Like this video didn't get into too many details, but those videos got removed and I got strikes, and I'm not looking to do that again. Just figured I don't know, this topic came up today and figured I would give you guys a video on it. Because good can be made. Well, I mean, it depends on your definition of good. Right now, my definition of good is something that's not harmful. Now, better would be if it's not harmful and it works well. That's probably too much to ask for in this case. Oh yeah, another thing is the antibodies that are generated. This was my theory all along, because I told people, if I was paid to make something like this, I would really screw people over, because I would choose a target that's going to generate antibodies that are self-reactive against your own body, so that even if your body can generate antibodies to fight off the pathogen, well, now you have an additional pathogen in your body because your body is making the new pathogen, which is the antibodies, and now you have an autoimmune disorder. And that has been shown to occur with antibodies for the crown you-know-what. I think most people are going to know what I mean by crown. It's a word in Russian, I think in Latin, probably Spanish. Yeah. So yeah, antibodies, not that great. And then, of course, you can also have antibody dependent enhancement. I think that's what they call it. Where I think I made a video on this too. I can't remember if this one got taken down. But basically, antibodies are supposed to bind to and inactivate the virus. Shouldn't have said that word, but hopefully it'll be okay. And then your white blood cells come and eat it. Now, the problem can be if the antibodies bind to it but don't deactivate it, becomes a Trojan horse. Your white blood cells go to eat it up, thinking it's all good. It's harmless. Now it's just time to go munch on a treat. But it's not deactivated, and they go for some munching, and the you know what penetrates, hard penetration, and it gets inside there and takes it over and uses it to reproduce. And this Trojan horse scenario is very bad because it means the more antibodies you have, the more you're pulling it into yourself and replicating it. So in this scenario, you would never want to let yourself get antibodies. Once again, this comes down to intelligent design. Now, of course, this stuff can occur in nature, but when you have a lot of these things, and also when you know what we publicly know about the origins of this, unless somebody is gonna convince you that the sky is red, and I think how this virus came to be. Once again, I shouldn't have said. Hopefully, it'll be okay. But yeah, it's pretty clear that it was engineered, and part of that engineering was giving it as many. I was actually going to say cool because it is cool. It's not good because it's bad that you could hurt people, but cool ways of screwing you over. Like, besides the autoimmune disorder it's going to cause, also using your antibodies to make it work better instead of worse. Now, is that going on? Who knows? Could be, could not be. Is it going on with is it going on with the actual thing? It could be one or the other. It could be both. It could be neither, because the antibodies generated are going to be different for the actual what, and when you take the it seems that it's not the case with the actual what, because it would make it likely that all the people with a lot of antibodies wouldn't have got better like they did. But they did, and they didn't just continue to get worse. So either there is a regulatory mechanism in the body that after it happens, it can do something else to stop it, or it's not occurring and your antibodies are in fact good. That does seem to be the case. Once again, who knows for sure though. Now it's less clear with the sense information is being muddled up about how people do after that, and you have a suspiciously large amount of people still getting sick, and pretty much just as sick as they would get if they hadn't had the. And you would think, well, those antibodies should be protecting them, and people go, oh, but that's not how they work. You still get, it's like, yeah, it applies to all, but the difference is most of them it's like you barely get sick, whereas this one it's like you still really get sick. And they go, oh, but that's how. No, the degree to which it happens is so different that it's like a different thing altogether. Not really worth calling it if it doesn't work. Working a tiny little bit is not really working. So yeah, it's very possible that with you get bad antibodies, and that's why it seems to be so ineffective. But like I said, there's a reason we don't make against Crown because they're not very effective. So that might be the reason, because it mutates so much. And yeah, so just gonna put this video out there. Hopefully you guys appreciate it. Wish my other videos that I made over the course of the last year and a half at more pressing times of less information got out there. They did for a little bit, but then I don't know if people reported them or something, but they got taken down and I got strikes. Not good. My website is andrewhutchings.org, where you can hire me for consultations. You cannot hire me for medical advice, but it's not medical advice if I don't tell you to do it. It's just medical information. Hire me for training advice, consultations, plans, etc. Same thing with diets, supplements, and supplements. May as well just say drugs, because it's not medical advice if I don't tell you to do the stuff with the drugs, just information. My book on tendonitis is for... Ooh, I got a comment. Not on my video. Yeah, my book on tendonitis is out. I just recommend you get on Amazon, A Systematic Guide to Defeating Tendonitis. And Instagram is natural_true_fitness. And I've got like 450 other videos, so I recommend you check them out. And there's so many that you should really scroll through them, because different themes arise. The general thing is health, fitness, science, but sometimes I'll go through a few videos that are on different topics. So depending on when you find my channel, the most recent videos might be on kind of random topics, but the other 90% are on health, fitness, and science related to those. One bad thing about getting bigger muscles in like your chest and back and center area of the body is it makes your arms look smaller. Even though I'm pretty sure my arms are not smaller. Maybe a little bit since I haven't been working out as much, but mostly it's the central body getting bigger.